from the latest Action Network podcast.
Baylor is playing for a Big 12 championship against Oklahoma, two 11-1 foes here. They both have playoff aspirations. Baylor probably obviously a little more of an outside shot than Oklahoma. And all of these teams, the thing is that they're playing, Baylor and Oklahoma, Utah. They're all going to try and go out there and win by a lot, and then kick back and then root for LSU at 3:30. This is in Arlington at AT&T Stadium, and Oklahoma is a 9-point favorite over under 64.5. You say 9-point favorite. Well, Oklahoma just last month closed a 10.5-point favorite in Waco, and that was without CeeDee Lamb. So, and then, Baylor covered. Baylor was up by 25 points. They had a Falcons lead of 28-3. They were dominating, and then it was just a tale of two halves. Oklahoma and Lincoln Riley changed their entire offense, especially for the second half. They became a ball control offense. They were just running it right down Baylor's throats, just efficiently passing, Hurts with his legs. And we've talked about this before. Baylor does a great job of limiting explosive plays. Their front seven can be exploited on the ground. They're not the most efficient defense, and you're talking about maybe one of the top one or two most efficient offenses in the country in Oklahoma. And they just efficiently move the ball down the field. They caused a couple turnovers in the second half on Baylor, and then they wore the Baylor defense out. I don't even know the Baylor's offense was on the field for more than 10 plays in the second half. But it was a tale of two completely different halves. It was one of the oddest games that you'll see. But now this line is less than what it was in Waco, and Oklahoma has Lamb back. I'm curious to see what Baylor does differently on defense to counteract, this Oklahoma ground game, this Oklahoma efficient passing attack. Do they try and play more aggressively? And if that's the case, having Lamb now in your back pocket, that could be where Oklahoma then hits Lamb deep and opens up this game in an area where Baylor usually excels at in limiting explosiveness. On the other side of the ball, Baylor's going to hit some explosive plays against an aggressive Oklahoma defense that you can do that against. But, the Baylor offensive line still has questions. And, the two stats that I point to on the Oklahoma side on their defense is they're top 20 in sack rate and they're top 20 in creating havoc. The Baylor offense is outside of the top 100 in each of those two categories. So, key turnovers, which we saw play a huge role against Baylor in the first matchup, could be the difference as well. I think Oklahoma's a little cheap here, and they've been cheap for the past couple weeks. We were on them against Oklahoma State just because of a few close results that I think were primarily due to just bad turnover luck. And we've talked about this countless times on the podcast with Hurts fumbling in the red zone and, the pick six against TCU when the receiver fell down. Oklahoma's a little cheap. I know that Rule will have his team ready for the revenge here. Rule has been a ridiculous coach against the spread as an underdog. I mean, you're talking, I think the only coach in all of college football that's an active coach that has been more profitable against the spread as an underdog is Brian Kelly. That's it. So he's been excellent against the spread. What do you see here?
If you're going to back Oklahoma, you're going to point to what happened in the second half. And if you're going to back Baylor, you're going to point to what happened in the first half. So let's put what Baylor did in the first half under a bit of a microscope. Baylor scored 31 of their 34 points in the first half in the previous meeting in Waco. Those points were a result of two OU turnovers and starting field position at the Baylor 46, the OU 27, and the OU 9. Baylor had just one drive go for more than 5 plays and result in points the entire game. The entire game. One drive go for more than 5 plays and result in points. Turnovers are unpredictable, but if you take out Baylor's 8 plays and 21 points, it was just a complete domination by the Sooners when you factor in what happened in the second half. Oklahoma had 8 drives go for over 8 plays. They had 6 of their 8 possessions in the second half end in points.
And they even fumbled inside the 10.
They even fumbled inside the 10. The Sooners had a ridiculous success rate of 71% in the third quarter. I don't know what happened at halftime. I don't know what adjustments were made, but 71% success rate in the third quarter was amazing. So to me, the formula is simple. If Oklahoma's not forfeiting possessions on turnovers and they're not in their own territory and they don't give Baylor those shots again, then it's highly unlikely that Oklahoma will find themselves in that position again. So I think Oklahoma covers the spread. I think they know how much they have to win by, considering they'll already know the outcome of Oregon and Utah. And I think Lincoln Riley will do everything to not just cover this spread, but to put it on to make sure that he's got the team that's being talked about on Sunday.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are I don't know if I'll necessarily have a pregame position because even though I do see some value in Oklahoma, I make this line over 10. And the reason for that is I want to see what Baylor does defensively, how they adjust. And also, there should be points in this game. So I do think that there is a good shot that I'll have an opportunity to potentially get Oklahoma at a better number live if Baylor gets the ball first and goes down the field. Like, I'm not concerned if Baylor goes up in this game. Now, I do risk Oklahoma coming out, going up, and then getting a stop or a turnover. And then, look, I might just not have a position in the game. By the way, Rule is 31-15 against the spread as an underdog in his career. That's 67.4%. And out of 511 coaches in our Bet Labs database since 2005 in college football, Rule is the fourth most profitable as an underdog.